Welcome back. I'm Dr. Hazel Huang, and we're going to look at how to transfer your measurements into Qualtrics, covering 5 key question types you'll need for your dissertation. Let's dive in. We're going to go through the 5 question types you see on screen that cover most of what you'll need for a dissertation study. So when should you use a ranking question? They're best when you want participants to express a preference or priority ordering across a set of items, not just which they prefer, but the relative order of all of them. In the hypothesis video, we used social media platform usage as a control variable in our example. A ranking question is a natural fit here. Rather than asking about each platform separately, participants simply drag and order them, which is more efficient and gives you richer data. To add a ranking question in Qualtrics, click Add New Question and select Rank Order from the Question Type menu. Type your question. Please rank the following social media platforms in order of how frequently you use them, from most to least frequent. Then add your items: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, X, and so on. Let's preview it. You can see we're able to drag and drop these into our preferred order. Quick note here. Participants see the questions and answer choices, but not your internal labels, like Q1, Q2, or block names, so name those for your own reference. When should you use a slider? They're useful when you want to capture something continuous. They work well for constructs like willingness to pay, how strongly someone feels about something, or the intensity of a behavior. They feel more intuitive to participants than typing a number, and they can make your survey feel more interactive. In our example, we might use a slider to capture social media usage intensity, for instance, from 0 to 100, as a continuous measure rather than forcing them into categories. To add a slider, click Add New Question and select Slider from the Question Type menu. Enter your question stem, then use the options on the right to set your minimum and maximum values and their labels. Let's preview it. This is how a slider looks to participants, but I usually prefer to anchor the point in the middle so participants can move up or down to be more interactive. How do we do that? It's simple. Let's go back to the question and move the anchor point from 0 to 50. Then, when you preview it, voila, it is positioned in the middle. Likert-type scale are the workhorse of survey-based research. They're used when you want to measure attitudes, agreement, satisfaction, or frequency across a set of statements, for example, from 1, strongly disagree, to 5, strongly agree. The majority of measurements in psychology, social science, and business research are Likert-type scales. In our example, the established scales for self-confidence, upward social comparison, and materialism are all multi-item Likert-type scales in the literature. How do you create Likert-type questions in Qualtrics? Click Add New Question and select Matrix Table. This gives you a grid where each row is a statement and each column is a response option. Enter your scale items as row labels and your response options as column headers. Typically something like 1 equals strongly disagree through to 7 equals strongly agree. A question students often ask is, should you use one matrix for all scales you need in your dissertation, or one matrix for each scale? The answer depends on how professional you want your questionnaire to be, or how easy for your participants to respond to your survey. This is more advanced, so we'll cover this in a different video. A bipolar scale, also called semantic differential scales, is used when you want to capture a construct along a dimension that has meaningful opposite ends. Rather than asking how much someone agrees with a statement, you're asking where they fall between 2 contrasting adjectives or phrases. In Qualtrics, bipolar questions are also built using the matrix table question type, but in the matrix type, change Likert-type to bipolar. Each row is a pair of contrasting adjectives or phrases. In our social media example, you might use a bipolar format for self-confidence. So for example, insecure on the left and confident on the right, with the numbered points in between. You can adjust the number of scale points in the column options. Multiple choice questions are most appropriate for categorical variables, variables where the answer falls into a distinct category rather than along a continuum. Demographic variables are the most common application: gender, occupation, age group, education, and so on. I want to walk you through 3 demographic questions in particular, because each one has a small design decision that matters. Occupation. Add a multiple-choice question and list the main occupational categories relevant to your sample. For example, student, employed full-time, employed part-time, self-employed, unemployed, retired. Importantly, always include an other option and attach a text entry box to it by right-clicking your mouse and then select Allow Text Entry. This way, your participants can specify what other means in their case. This approach ensures you capture everyone without forcing anyone into a category that doesn't fit them. In addition, you can enable validation to ensure that if the other option is selected, then the text entry for the other option cannot be empty. If it is empty, Qualtrics will remind participants to fill in the text box. Finally, for multiple-choice questions, you can also allow participants to choose more than one option, and this is done by selecting Allow Multiple Answers under Answer Type. Age. Rather than using age brackets which may constrain your analysis, collect age using a drop-down list. A drop-down keeps entries clean and prevents participants from typing non-numeric values by mistake. Here's how to create one. Create a multiple-choice question, then go to Excel and create the numbers from 18 to, say, 70. Next, copy these values into the multiple-choice question, and then change the format to drop-down. Sex. Current ethical guidance suggests that, in addition to male and female, you should include a non-binary or other option to be inclusive, but crucially, always include Prefer Not to Say. This is an ethical requirement, not optional. Participants should never be forced to disclose their sex if they do not wish to. That wraps up our session on the 5 key question types in Qualtrics. If you found this helpful, be sure to check out our other videos. The best research doesn't just ask questions, it asks the right questions. Keep questioning, and I'll see you soon.